So it's a dilemma because modern day society teaches that the women are like the men and that they don't need a man. And so how do we fix this? So what would be a response? So that's the value of the woman. Now, what about the responsibility of a Muslim wife? What would be her responsibility? One of the most important responsibilities that she has is submission to her husband. This is submission, obedience to her husband, male authority. A woman does not need to be rebellious and be taught combative and be taught argumentative. This goes against our Quran and our Sunnah. If we read about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran and the tafsir and the hadith of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we get to understand that in Islam, the value of the woman is when she's devoutly obedient. Qanitat. She's devoutly obedient. Therefore, the righteous women are devoutly obedient and guard in their husband's absence because of what Allah has guarded. Allah is telling us what the value of the woman is and what the value of the man is, what the responsibility of the man is and what the responsibility of the woman is. We don't need confusion. We need to hold on to our Quran and Sunnah. And that to adhere to his obedience and to take care of his obligations and mandatory acts of Islam. This is our religion. We don't need people to say, you're not allowed to do this. This is what our religion, the religion of Islam, our beautiful religion, the Deen of Allah, teaches that a woman should be submissive to her husband. A woman, she guards his wealth, his bed, his rights, and his obligation. This is not something to be reprogrammed and re-indoctrinated like a boarding school, like they did with the Native Americans. This is something that we have to intelligently understand, that what are the rights? What's the value of the woman? It's not what modern day society tells us, because we're not going to have any wives like that. We're not going to have, the woman won't find any husbands if the husbands don't have a job, if they become drug addicts, if they cannot maintain responsibility. So we're facing a pandemic. We're facing a divorce pandemic. We're facing a marriage pandemic because the youth, nowadays, the youngsters, everyone, there's a hookup culture, a weird hookup culture. It's strange. It's just a weird hookup culture. It's not for marriage, and Allah does not like adultery. So Allah has given the man to have multiple wives, 2, 3, 4. If you can't, then have one. There's not an excuse of committing adultery when Allah has given us a choice to have 2, 3, 4 wives. So when we can have 2, 3, 4 wives, why do we want to commit adultery? Why do we want a girlfriend? Nowadays, it's so difficult to find a wife in the current times because the women are losing their value. They're losing their value. So when a woman is losing her value, how can a man take this lady as a wife? It's difficult. It's going to be the marriage in the future is going to be extremely difficult, because the basic foundational component of what the value of what a woman brings, of her modesty, her chastity, her virginity, her submissiveness, is being erased. Raising children in a nuclear family of a father, a mother, love, discipline is love. Discipline, if you touch the electric outlet, no. That means you touch it and I don't do anything, okay, you're going to get hurt. We should teach our kids discipline in a good way, Islamic education, stability. Satan's greatest attacks is with the faith, is with our marriage, is with our parents, is with our children, our modesty, our family units. So what's the solution for this? Now, there's a very important solution. I mentioned this in the very first time, and I give the floor to everyone. What do you think one of the solutions are? The very important solution
For the family?
for the family that we have to do that could revive our family system again.
You know, from the Islamic view, we need to go back to what the Prophet ﷺ says. And
Try to be a friend with them, as a friendly. Yeah.
So you nailed it right on the dot. The first thing that we have to do, we need to hold on to the Quran and the Sunnah.
Yeah.
Because when society teaches us otherwise, when they teach all this rubbish that goes against our Islam, we need to really hold on to the Quran and Sunnah, because Allah has already given us human rights. Allah has already given us the responsibility of men, responsibility of women, the value of men, the value of women, the rights of the kids, the rights of the neighbors, the rights of the trees, the rights of the insects, of the animals, of everything. So the first thing we have to do is we have to hold on to the Quran and the Sunnah and try to do everything we can to uphold that, to live by it. Because once we start straying away, we're going to open the door of the shaitan.
Yes.
The shaitan's going to come in. And we need to bring back of not allowing our daughters, our wives, especially the youth, the daughters, not allowing them to go out like that, making sure they have male chaperone, making sure, this is difficult in modern day, that the man needs to go to the father for marriage. What country does this exist in? It doesn't exist in Morocco. It doesn't exist in a lot of these countries. It doesn't exist in almost all these countries. Before, the men used to go to the father for marriage.
Mm.
What countries do these exist in? It's all becoming normalized. Where can I go to a father and say, I want to marry your daughter?
Mm.
Instead of me meeting some girl and taking her out for coffee. How can we get back to the Islamic tradition of going to the father? Because women make horrible decisions. They're not going to make decisions that's good for them. They might have a feeling they think it's good for them, but in reality, it's a destruction, because they're not going to end up being with this guy. And they're going to lose the most important thing, their value of their virginity, their modesty, their chastity, for their future husband.
Yes.
So if they just go out with random guys, they're going to just have the door of what? The shaitan open up. The door of the shaitan is going to open up, and when this opens up, we're going to lose our barakah. We're going to lose our blessing. We're going to lose our foundation. And we need, in my humble opinion, we need coaches for men, and we need counseling for women. We need re-education.
Right.
We need to create a system that, even though we're living in a modern society, we want to protect our Muslim family against the challenges against modern society. If that makes sense, does it?
Yes.
Because these challenges of modern society are going against our Islamic morals and values, are going against our family, our nuclear family. What truly gives us strength, what truly gives us direction and blessing in our life. Because what husband wants to be with a rebellious wife, with a combative wife, with an argumentative wife? What wife wants to be with a husband that refuses to even do his responsibility to provide, to protect? So we as Muslim, we have to do everything we can to protect our families, to protect our society. We have to encourage modesty. We have to encourage chastity. Extremely important. Because if modesty and chastity is not encouraged, those guys aren't going to take these girls for wives. They're not going to do it. They're going to, we should be, when I was overseas in a lot of these countries, these fathers are allowing their daughters, their Muslim families allowing their daughters in miniskirts, walking around like a family, and they say they want to to be normalized. They want to be accepted. It's like the Native Americans where they lost their heritage because they were beaten if they spoke their mother language and shaved their heads to be indoctrinated. Instead of the military putting them in boarding schools, now their own family are propagating the message against Islam, the message of the shaitan, to make the value of this girl completely gone, where she's just public property. She'll be incapable of marriage. Yes. It'd be like having kids and saying, take these drugs, get them hooked on drugs. And then whenever they get 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, they've been on drugs the whole time, and now their whole future is messed up. They're just going to be like zombies. So that would be destruction. That wouldn't be intelligent. That would be self-sabotage. So we need to have special courses on this. We need to have people that leadership prepare the young youth for marriage. We need to get active, because if we don't get active in these matters, we're going to lose to haram. And maybe they might be married for a week or 2 weeks. They're going to go through divorce. And especially with these crazy laws over here, the man's going to lose everything. And the woman's going to walk away. And the guys are going to be scared of marriage. They're going to say, no way, because these laws are crazy. You know, who wants to lose their house? Who wants to lose their finances? Who wants to lose everything and pay alimony for a girl to go be with another man? Crazy. That's what the laws are over here. It's ridiculous. It's ludicrous. It's beyond comprehension. And we have to do what we can to make sure that we save this within our community. And not only Islamic knowledge, but understanding for both parties their responsibility, where they get their value from, where the man gets his value, his responsibility, the responsibility of the woman, where she gets her value from, her responsibility, of the kids. Because if we're going to keep going on the same track, it's going to be a really ugly future for the youth. It's going to be difficult internationally. You might have to travel all the way around the world to go find a wife. You got to have some money for that. Yeah, you got to have money to make that happen. And the most important thing is raising kids. And in order to have a strong family, a strong functional nuclear family, the kids are the future. Without the kids and the future, there's nothing. We got to make it part of our life with Islamic knowledge. We have to do everything to bring our nuclear family back. We have to do everything to bring our society back, our Islamic society, regardless of the situations that we're living in, of the laws that have been put in place. We need to do everything we can to promote our Islamic family, because a strong ummah begins with a strong family. This is one of the most important things. A strong family begins with a righteous husband and a righteous wife. A righteous husband and righteous wife begin with obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we return to the Quran and the Sunnah, Allah will place blessings in our homes, our marriages, our children, and our future generations. So when we marry, we should want to marry religious women. We can marry women for their beauty, for their blood, and for their money. But we should truly marry. The best marriage is for the deen, for their religion. And a lot of times, even if they look religious, they have to be re-educated. They have to be re-educated, because if they're not re-educated, these women are going to be extremely rebellious in today's society. We need to do everything we can to get back to our true foundation of the nuclear family from the Quran and the Sunnah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us and guide us to the straight path. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant nastaghfiruka wa natubu alayk.